got a $5 super thanks to get things going from Wendell Palmer. Just says thanks. Appreciate that, Wendell. You're very kind. This does get Wendell in to the George Pickens jersey raffle. Any $5 super thanks, or of course super chat during our live shows, will get you in to the off-season George Pickens jersey raffle. As of filming, we still don't know what the number actually is right now. $5 super chat from Daniel. Daniel R. There's a Daniel M. too. Do you think the Cowboys pick up a corner? I think they should bring back Gilmore. I wouldn't be shocked if they did. I think this is probably more of a training camp time move. They've done that before. They went out and got DTs last year when they went, Mozzie and the 7th round pick bunch isn't going to work, which is also exactly where they still are. So let's see how that plays out. I think corner is still an area, depending on what the nickel room looks like. What does Savone Rebels' health look like? I have question marks about the cornerback group. I think Dallas is going to want to let the first 2 weeks or so of camp play out, and then they'll make a decision. But it is something that should be on their radar. Absolutely. Javonte Johnson, would you trade Dak if we don't at least go to the playoffs this year? And there's a lot to figure out why you did make the playoffs, right? So, is the defense terrible? Is it a Joe Burrow Bengals situation last year where the quarterback plays great, the defense is bad? Then no, you're not going to trade him. Is it, did Dak get hurt again? Well, then maybe no one wants to trade for him. Is it, very clearly just a bad head coach? It's tough to blame the QB there. Even if it is Dak's fault, you have one big issue. A big contract for a new team to take on, and you're eating almost $90 million in dead money. I think the far more likely outcome here, regardless of how things play out this year, is Dallas should adopt an approach of go win games now. Try to set up this kind of in the middle of this kind of 3-4-ish year window, and if it doesn't work, actually rebuild. Bottom out. So you haven't done a real rebuild in a very long time, frankly. Not just the QB got hurt, we had a bad year. I would consider a real rebuild then. Bottom out, get an early draft pick. Whenever you want to do that, whatever you're paying the quarterback doesn't matter at that point. It kind of is, it's a moot point because you're not trying to win games. Who cares if you're eating a bunch of big money? That's fine. So I would have to see how the year plays out, but the answer almost surely is no, probably not. From Thor, at what point would you consider a Micah Parsons trade? If you get to next off season and there's still no deal done, that's when you would consider it. I would be surprised if we got to week 1 and there was no deal done. I would actually be very, very surprised. I don't think they're that far off. It's just somehow, some way, this always happens with Dallas, where the top-end players end up waiting, which is frustrating to me. I would not. I think it's really hard to find, mid-20-year-old players who are top 5 at this point in their career in sacks. I think that's really hard to find. I would just pay that guy. What would you do, though, with Micah Parsons? P for pay, T for trade. Let me know in the comments. It's the pinned comment, actually, of today's show. Zion, what is the possibility of us letting go of Steele if he has a down year and we draft yet another lineman in the first round? So I would say you're probably going to make the call on Terence Steele before the draft. And if Steele has a down year, I think he's gone for sure. If Terence Steele, as the Cowboys think, hope, expect, if he does not bounce back this year, see ya. They can save almost $9 million with a pre-June 1st cut, $14 million after June 1st. I would say it is highly likely that they say, we're going to just let him go. There's no more guarantee money on his deal. If Steele's not good, I think he's gone. And then right tackle could be very much, or I guess left tackle too, potentially, which one to do with Guyton, is very much in play as a round 1 option again. Mike, what positions should we shore up going into camp? Again, I don't know if they will, but the spots that I would want to see how things look early on in training camp are, I want to see how the defensive tackle room looks like. I want to see how the cornerback, outside and inside, looks like. I can't get a good feel for my backs until camp, but that's an area. Any injuries that happen, maybe linebacker. I think you have to be aware of, okay, you've got some question marks, especially on defense at like DT and corner with guys not healthy yet. You got to be willing to go add a cheaper one-year vet to shore things up. I think corner, DT, maybe running back are kind of the top three areas. Today's show is made possible by PrizePicks. It is the best place to turn your sports knowledge into cash. With millions of members, PrizePicks has made daily fantasy sports accessible to all. You pick more or less on at least 2 players for a shot to win up to 2,000 times your cash. Run your game all season long on PrizePicks. If you know ball, there's only one series left in the playoffs, and the championship is officially on the line. Got to get going with PrizePicks while you still can for basketball. Season-long football also available. I've got CeeDee Lamb more than 7.5 receiving touchdowns. Breece Hall, less than rushing yards. Dak Prescott, more than 23.5 passing touchdowns. I think that is a very good spot to be in. Go download the PrizePicks app today over at prizepicks.com/CLNS and use code CLNS to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. Link will be in the comments section and the description of today's show. That's prizepicks.com/CLNS and use code CLNS to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. All right, Daniel M. I believe the Cowboys are not done making moves. I'm a little surprised Front Office hasn't done anything since the Pickens trade. Could they be working on another trade? Well, what do you expect them to say? I don't really think they're actively working on stuff. I think they are aware of what they might need to go work on if something doesn't turn out very well, but I don't think that's a likely. Like, I don't think they're actively working on like Jalen Ramsey trade. Be fun to be wrong on that one. I think they're aware, hey, we might need to go get a DT, a corner, or a back, something later on in camp, but there's not much going on. Like, they don't have press conferences right now. Like, there's not a spot for them to say a whole lot at the moment. William Cook, what impact does Barkley being on the Madden cover have on the NFC East? First off, William, thank you very much, my friend. In general, the so-called Madden curse, I would actually argue, is predominantly just regression to the mean. Who here thinks pre-Madden cover that Saquon Barkley was going to go for 2,000 yards this season? There's a pretty good long list of data that when you get a massive workload in one year, the next year in the backfield, you get hurt or you're not as good. That's just how football tends to work. So I don't think the cover has any impact, but if you're a betting man, the odds of the Eagles not being as good are pretty high because that would be a repeat otherwise. Like, that's kind of where you're at this time. It's just it's I don't think he'll be as good this year. He can still have a 600-yard season and not be as good this year. It's probably what it's going to be. Ferdinand Hunt, would you trade for Breece Hall? I put him on my list. Like, I can check in again in early August. I don't get it from the Jets' perspective very much. Like, Braylon Allen was not that great last year, frankly. And now bad supporting cast, sure, but Hall was clearly better from an efficiency standpoint. Isaiah Davis, put him on your list. I have doubts about the Jets side of it. Do you want the Cowboys to add another running back? Y for yes, N for no. Donnell, Texas Wolf Graves. Hey, Tom, what Cowboys players from the 2000s would you have liked to seen on the 90s teams? Ooh, that's a fun question. I always look at, like, guys I felt bad that weren't good enough to, like, make a lot of stuff. And I'm going, like, early 2000s for this one. I think, like, imagine if that 90s Cowboys team, instead of the LaFleur disaster pick at tight end, what if they got prime Jason Witten? Or they threw that guy on the roster? What if they added, like DeMarcus Ware to that defense somehow? I'm thinking of, like, guys that, like, I felt bad didn't get a ring. Sean Lee, Zach Martin, Tyrants with like the best of the bests to make that 90s team even better, even if it wasn't maybe the biggest need. King Xbox, who is the best player in the next draft class? Is it Caleb Downs, the safety? Safeties aren't valued like that, though. That's the Ohio State safety. Clemson's got two incredibly good front four players, Peter Woods and TJ Parker, right? Yeah, TJ Parker. There's some intriguing quarterbacks. I think Jeremiah Love is the best running back, but I don't think he's the best player in the class. Caden Proctor might have a breakout year at tackle. Utah's got two good tackles, but I think defense is a bit heavier this upcoming season. Chandler Freeman, how about a David Njoku trade? The best version of David Njoku, even like the more recent best version of Njoku, I think it is better than what the Cowboys have seen so far from Jake Ferguson. The Browns could very well be in a time to tear it down mindset. Like 2023, Njoku was still very good. He's due a decent chunk of change. He's not 30, I don't think, yet, though. I'm pretty sure he's only like 29 years old, which is kind of crazy about how long he's been in the NFL. I have my doubts that they're going to go pursue a tight end. I think that they have hope in Ferguson. So I wouldn't, unless it's super cheap, I would not assume a tight end trade happens. So name a player who you want to trade for. Let me know in the comments section of today's show. Name a player who you want the Cowboys to go trade for. From Rogue, do you think that if our backs are bad in camp, a Jerome Ford trade could happen? That's a good name. The Browns drafted two backs. Ford has been goodish, not great. He's pretty affordable. He's cheap. I think he actually would be available. It's not an extreme needle mover, but if your running backs are bad, like I think that's a good option. So I think that is a very logical option there, Rogue. And we'll see if it actually happens, but like if you're building out your lists, so to speak, it's a good name to have on there. If you guys want more free Cowboys YouTube videos, hit that sub button, youtube.com/CowboysTV. From DKK, odds that Milton is the number 2 over Greer, or is there someone else to be brought in? I think you could have like a hybrid number 2 in the sense that like if Dak goes down for the season, knock on wood, Milton has a better shot to play. But the game day inactive or game day QB2 might be Greer. Remember, the backup quarterback job isn't actually to be the 33rd through 65th best QB in the NFL. It's not actually what it is. It's to be the best backup for your starter. In most cases, there are exceptions, like if there's a battle or something there. Like when you have an entrenched starter, you normally want someone who will do the stuff during the week to make life easier on your head coach, your play caller, your quarterback, to help him out, to be almost a vibes guy at times, to be a good like assistant to the QB almost at times. And I think Dallas likes that about Will Grier. There's a good relationship there between the head coach and backup and starter and head coach, and then you kind of allow Milton to be the developmental guy. I would have real doubts about Will Grier playing a 5-game stretch this season. I think the Cowboys are a bit more confident in Grier than maybe I am.